There are 14 side quests to be completed in Silent Hill Downpour. Each is its own contained story, with varying mechanics and goals. Sometimes it's a fetch quest, compelling the player to explore town to complete objectives. Others are contained short stories of vicious ghosts, murderous parents, and other tragedies that feel right at home in Silent Hill. The stories themselves are, for the most part, too short to dive into deeply. But as a whole, these 14 stories represent something major for the Silent Hill franchise, something that could have led it in a powerful new direction. The side quest as a concept is, for one, widely accepted as a staple of more modern games. Even titles that aren't particularly RPGs, like Downpour, have embraced the concept. But it's more than just the game mechanics being used here. Each of the side quests is an exploration of a new type of story, a way for the game writers to dip their toes into various genres and show what Silent Hill could look like in this new style. There's the murderous household, where a vengeful ghost returns to attack the player after having killed his own family. The premise of likely hundreds of horror films played out here in short form, and in many ways incredibly similar to Silent Hill 4. The player turns a handle on a record player to rewind time before listening to the ghostly spirits and setting the murderer's picture aflame to destroy him. It can be completed in about 5 minutes, but feels like a solid premise for a film, all wrapped up nicely in a short quest. There's the theater level, where the player repairs film reels to leap into the films themselves and face what monsters are lurking inside. A sort of reverse The Ring, where the monster comes out of the movie. There's the art quest, which involves finding a map on the back of old paintings, a la National Treasure. There's a quest about aliens, a quest about a restless thief spirit finding peace, a quest with an NPC who mysteriously dies as soon as the quest is finished, leaving you to wonder if he was dead the whole time, like The Sixth Sense adapted into a game quest. All these various themes and motifs across these stories feel like a snapshot of Silent Hill in a new style. And this was a time when Silent Hill desperately needed a new style. The games had stagnated. It had been years since one had truly been successful, and each new title drove a greater wedge between developers and the audience, often because of Konami's interference and a far too short development period. Silent Hill needed fresh life, and these stories gave that to it. For one, they incentivized one of the big selling points of Downpour, the large open-world map. Players could explore and find these quests, enjoy these bite-sized stories while walking through the town's haunted streets, rewarding them for exploring and encouraging them to find other stories. But it was also a great way to explore different storytelling styles in the Silent Hill environment. Any of these short plots could have been developed into a longer story set in Silent Hill. Imagine, as I mentioned earlier, a National Treasure-style hunt for lost magical items across town to stop some sort of horrible ritual, using a secret map obtained by someone who committed horrible crimes to get it. Running from monsters while treasure hunting, like Uncharted as a horror story. Everything is still Silent Hill. Still the same game mechanics and staples, with a new story adapted to the setting. It could have breathed a lot of new life into the series, and these short stories did try to, and their brevity often worked in their favor. Leaving questions unanswered and open-ended added to the feeling of loss and horror that often accompanied these tales. There were even locations in the game meant to be side quests that were never developed further, such as a house in Hillside with a locked room and a wailing female spirit that turns out to be a monster. Even without more detail, it's a haunting setting. The player descends into someone's basement to find a jail cell with someone crying inside, which is unsettling by itself. The nearby missing person ad on the milk jug showing a missing little girl makes it far worse. When the player opens the cell and finds one of the sexual doll monsters, well, that's the icing on the cake. And none of this is technically a side quest, but like those quests, it's a contained story that tells a rather typical horror tale, something like The Lovely Bones with a monstrous twist. In some ways, the PT demo is similar to these quests. Short, lacking catharsis or a feeling of completion, but presenting us with a promise of what could be, what this might be developed into with more time. Unfortunately, we never did get the full PT game, and we never saw another open-world Silent Hill like Downpour, with stories that explored these varying styles. For years, folks have accused the series, jokingly and not, of being the same story over and over since Silent Hill 2. A horrible thing happens, the protagonist represses it, and the town forces them to remember. They're not wrong. Developers have tried to get other stories approved, and Konami has repeatedly been a fan of trying to sell nostalgia instead. But Downpour found a way to tell new stories, short as they are, in the Silent Hill environment. Examples of how the game series might go in a new direction, which unfortunately were never followed up on in future games. Hey everyone, thanks for watching another episode of Silent Hill Symbolism. This one was a shorter one because I wanted to discuss the side quests in general rather than going into too much detail. And it was a commission request from a lovely fan. Thank you so much for your support. I did want to go into a few more extra details since it was a commission of things that I didn't really get to fit into the actual concept. I do think most of the side quests are pretty short and they feel like explorations of various storytelling styles in the Silent Hill world, but there are deeper meanings to some of them. One of my favorite is the side quest that involves finding items for a homeless man. You can provide him with a jacket, with food, with a fishing rod to help him survive in the town, but the last time you come to see him, he's dead on the ground. I think it ties in really nicely to Murphy's own conflicted feelings about the loss of his son, where he spent all these years taking care of and raising someone, preparing them for life and protecting them only for them now to be dead. I think it ties very nicely there. The specific quest that the commissioner asked for was Turn Back Time, which I think is really a very short version of a horror movie. It feels a bit like a homage to horror movies in general, and it's fun to kind of see a hammy approach to horror in this short piece of the game. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to commission a video, you can do so at the link in the description below. General news for the channel: I have created new schedules for the new year that you can see on the community page. Be sure to follow me on social media if you don't already and would like to keep up to date. This Friday, we're going to start up Fanfic Friday again with the Fanfic Friday auction. I'm going to be reading short pieces of various stories, and fans will get to vote on which one we're actually going to read next, so that'll be fun. Thanks for watching. If you would like to support me, you can do so on Patreon, PayPal, Ko-fi, or here through the membership program. I'm going to be uploading more details about rewards for the coming months very soon. Things like free copies of my books, early access to videos, special private streams and movie nights, things like that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the 22nd. Bye.